Alright, hey, what's up, guys? I finally got around to watching most of the rest of the Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and by that I mean I've seen seasons, the rest of three up to five now, and I'm about halfway through six. I'll have that review up next week, but let's pick back up where we left off, and where we left off in season three was a pretty good storyline that finally got us back into the modern times with some good episodes that gave uh, more more heart to the Separatists, where we're like, okay, all these guys aren't bad, and then we start off on a pretty good note. We get the Night Sisters trilogy at the start of this, where we're introduced to Savage Press, who becomes a really good character later on in the series, but right now this is more of that assassin story, and I am not a big Ventress fan, so this was a weak-ish arc, but then the stuff that happens is also really cool. You get some betrayal by Count Dooku. It's a good dark plot, and it's good, but I think just focuses a bit too much on Ventress. But a good arc to start the second part of the season. And then we get three of the most different but most awesome episodes. These take full advantage of the Force. Uh, what happens in these is Anakin gets put on this planet where living embodiments of the light and dark side and the balance exist, and through it he actually does what he's supposed to and brings balance to the Force by killing them all off. But just the pure shows the power of Anakin, the power of the Force in general throughout the whole thing. It's pretty cool. And then after that, we get an arc from the Citadel to Citadel Rescue, where it really brings more depth, and this is where you really start to enjoy Ahsoka's character, if you hadn't liked her before. Because she matures here, and she sneaks herself onto this mission. They save a Jedi, and you get introduced to General Tarkin, who's really cool. If you don't know who that is, go watch the original Star Wars movie, and you'll find out soon. And then the last arc of this season is just a two-part rescue. Again, focusing on Ahsoka, which I really liked. It might be my favorite arc in the season. You get Ahsoka, you get Chewbacca during the second part of it. She's being hunted. It's like, I can't remember what the name, The Most Dangerous Game, if you've ever read that story. And she has to get her and a bunch of other youngling Jedi who aren't strong in the Force yet to escape this place. And it's a good two-episode arc. Probably my favorite in this season. Then we get on to season 4, and it starts off in a good arc, but not a great arc. And that is the Gungan invasion arc. This is all set underwater, so it's nice to see the underwater world in Star Wars. You get introduced to these shark-like aliens, these squid-like aliens, and the Gungans are there through 2 episodes of it, which are not the funnest people. Those are Jar Jar's race. But there's still some really cool stuff. That Admiral Akbar is in it, and you get a young him. And that's a cool look at things. And followed by that is another Jar Jar focused arc. Pretty weak, but still not as weak as the early part of season 3. After that, we get one of the strangest episodes, Normal Droids, that focuses on C-3PO and R2-D2. And there's other R2-D2 arcs later. And this one, they just get through a bunch of zaniness. It's a cool episode, but it's different than probably the entire rest of the series. And after that are two of my favorite arcs in the entire series. The Umbara arc, which is a clone arc, which I love. And there's this general. He's pitting the clones against each other, so the clones have to rebel against the Jedi. And it focuses on how clones aren't programmed to just obey any order. They can think for themselves. And I like arcs that are about the clones in the Clone Wars, and we show that not all Jedi are good. After that, another one of my favorite arcs in the whole series. Like I said, these are two of my favorites. Is the slave arc. Uh, Anakin and Obi-Wan get kidnapped, and to escape, they have to uh, rise up with the slaves, a bunch of different Jedi stuff. Just a really cool thing, and it makes you realize that, in a way, the Jedi are all slave. Everyone under the Empire is a slave. Everyone is a slave to someone. Right, then after that, those two great arcs, we get another awesome arc that involves Obi-Wan Kenobi going undercover. There's a cool bounty hunter elimination type scenario that they have to survive to get into this, and the actual plot that Obi-Wan undoes, also pretty awesome. Then after that, we get a weaker two-story arc that, again, cool stuff happens, but I don't like Ventress. I'm not a big fan of the Night Sisters, but Dooku goes and basically kills almost all the Night Sisters, because he has to also get rid of Ventress, or maybe that already happened. I don't really remember. But Ventress then is like, oh, now what do I do? Since she does a job with Boba Fett, who's back here for one episode, it just wraps up her story for the most part. Now, she's just on the run trying to survive. But she's like, I'm not a bounty hunter anymore. That's not my thing. Then after that, we get really cool. It's really a 3-episode arc, but the first 2 episodes are here. And Savage Opress, like I said, who gets really cool. That happens in this episode, where he finds his spider brother in Darth Maul, who returns and is like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And then he finds him, brings him to the last remaining Night Sister, and then it says spider legs, Darth Maul gets robot legs, and they go and they take on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Never a smart idea. He's with Hondo, the pirate, right now, and Darth Maul and Savage barely escape with their lives when Ventress shows up. So it's a cool 2-episode arc here that does have an ending, but that is continued right away in the season 5 premiere revival, where now Darth Maul gets found by Death Watch, and some cool stuff happens, which is continued later on, but not right now. Then after that awesome premiere, to start off season 5 for real, because the other one is more of a later episode, but also connects right to the end there. We get an episode about a rebellion here that the Jedi are actually supporting this time. They're like, okay, let's hope these people rebel. It's a couple episode arc, focuses again on Ahsoka and the separatist dude who's first introduced at the end of season 3. A couple good episodes, but the ones that focus more on the war, I personally am not a big fan of. I like more of the spy kind of stuff that happens during the war, not the actual war parts during the war. And then after that, we get 4-episode arc. That's about young Jedis, Padawans and whatnot, learning how to build their lightsabers, how to find the crystals, forge it, which is really cool because it adds to the Jedi mythos. And these 4 episodes are really cool. And the young Jedis obviously have to, I don't want to say fight off an enemy, but they have to trick an enemy into leaving their ship at one point. A couple good episodes that, again, especially with this season and the end of the last season, really more focus on Ahsoka. And she's with them too after this. And after this is, like I said, R2-D2 has his own arcs, and the next 4 episodes are kind of about him and this small person who's like a little lizard thing that fits inside a droid, and he gets commanded to work with these droids to go gather intel. And those 4 episodes, you can't really explain what happens in them. Just what happens in them is cool. And it's cool to see that these smaller characters, literally smaller, not smaller in importance, can have a big impact on the war at whole. And it also adds a bit more into clones again, because they do run into a clone who no longer remembers who he is. Uh, so a couple cool episodes there. And then after that, the next 3 episodes, from Eminence to Lawless, are the continuation of the first episode of the season, where we get more Savage, more Darth Maul, and the Emperor shows up in form this time, using his lightsabers, using his darkness. They work with Death Watch. These 3 episodes, really cool, especially when combined with the first episode of the season, make for good television. Uh, and after that, the last 4 episodes of the season is probably one of the best arcs in it. Focuses on Ahsoka. There's an explosion in the Jedi Temple. She gets expelled from the Jedi's because they blame it on, or they don't blame that on her. Blame that on her. They blame something else that happens because of that on her. And it shows both the lengths with Anakin would go to if this was the end of the series, which is originally planned. Well, not originally planned, but when they ended it, that's what it was going to be. And if that would have been the ending, you can see where it goes directly from that to the Anakin we see later. It kind of wraps up Ahsoka's storyline and the fact that she's no longer in the Jedi way, and it shows the flaw in the Jedi's and them working with the Republic well. So that's all from season 3, 4, and 5. With this, season 4 had some of my favorite arcs, so that is probably my favorite season of the series. Though I really enjoyed season 5, and season 3 was awesome. But at least season 4 is, in my opinion, the best, though the Darth Maul Savage Opress episodes in season 5 are a must-watch for any Star Wars fan. So what about you? Have you seen the Clone Wars? If so, what's your favorite season? Not counting season 6, we'll talk about that later. But through the first 5, which did you enjoy the most? Who's your favorite character they introduced here? Is it Savage Opress? Is it Darth Bane? Or not Darth Bane, he's in different books, but Cad Bane. Or is it one of the clones, who are also really strong characters in this show? Let me know down below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.